So I thought it might be beneficial to go through our Learn to Swim scheme. So each day for the next 5 days, I'm going to be looking at the objectives for each of our stages. If you're watching and you don't follow our Learn to Swim scheme, it's fine. Still might be beneficial for you because obviously a lot of the skills, techniques and strokes in here will be in Learn to Swim schemes. So starting with stage 1, okay, so these are beginners. They may well have had some previous swimming experience with parents on holidays or just on a weekend at the local pool. They may be total beginners and never been in before. So this is kind of the stage we're looking at. So number 1 on our stage 1 is know the pool rules. So I would usually always get the kids sat on the edge at the beginning, the very first lesson. We'd get them lined up and sat on the edge. And I'd usually do something fun first because you don't just want to start with, don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other. So I'd get them all lined up and they can splash their feet. So I'd say, who can splash their toes? Can you make big splashes? Can you make small splashes? Can you make noisy splashes? Can you make quiet splashes? And then that's something fun. Then you can go through any of these. Now they're all bullet pointed on everybody's Learn to Swim sheets, laminates. If anybody needs a new one of these, let me know. So we've got, do not enter the pool until your teacher is ready. So I would maybe start with that one because obviously they've not got in yet. So then you can say, okay, I'm here. It's safe for you to get in. I'm happy for you to get in. Then I would teach them how to sit and swivel. So roll over, put your hands on the side. I usually say slide down like a snake or a snail or a slug, and put your feet on the floor or wherever they're putting their feet on the floor. Obviously, if it's a walking entry down the steps, it's a little bit different. You might want them all to stand up and walk the steps, for example. Depends which pool you're using. Do not run, jump in feet first, use the toilet before swimming, don't eat just before swimming, and listen to your teacher and follow instructions, okay? So you don't necessarily need to teach them all of these at first, right in the first 5 minutes, but we just need to be mindful of what all of these are, and we can remind them throughout the lesson. So obviously, when they're jumping, we can talk about feet first only, and throughout the lesson you can remind them to listen, okay? At the end of the lessons, you can just maybe say, someone tell me one pool rule, okay? And then we're constantly reminding them of these. Okay, so number 2 is enter the water safely. I've just talked about that. So that is either walking down the steps or a sit and swivel, depending on which pool you're at, okay? That wasn't me, by the way. That was the filtration system. There's a bit of air in it today. Blow bubbles, okay? So for stage 1, this doesn't need to be with their face in the water, okay? And I would usually start with blowing in the air. I would get them to blow a candle out so they can use their finger and blow on it. They can blow the candle into the water. So if they hold their finger in the water, I want them to blow and drop it under, okay? You can use your own, so you can splash them with the finger. Then we're gonna move to blow the water. They still haven't got the lips in, okay? They're just blowing the water away. Then you can get the lips wet, blow bubbles. We can blow quiet bubbles. You can blow noisy bubbles. You can blow small bubbles. You can blow big bubbles. Okay, so you can make it all different, make it exciting, make it fun. But at this stage, they don't need their face in the water. Okay, next one, spin in the water. I would usually incorporate this into a game, okay? So I would perhaps have a woggle circle and plenty of toys spread out. I would call it a treasure hunt maybe, with their armbands on and a woggle, or just armbands, depending on how confident we've got them throughout the stage 1 lessons. They're gonna scoop and kick, collect one toy at a time. I'll just grab something. One toy at a time, put it in the hoop, okay? So they're all doing this together at the same time. We're using the full space of the pool. Once you think almost all the toys are in, or they are all in, we're gonna ask them to turn around and look around, okay? So they're gonna spin on their armbands, on their woggle. They're gonna spin and look around for the toys, okay? So you can incorporate that into a game. You can also use the dizzy dollies that we've talked about on the game video. So when we say dizzy, they're spinning, 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 and dollies, they need to float, okay? dizzy, 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 they can spin in the other direction. And then you shout dolly and they float front or back, okay? You can pop it into Simon Says. So Simon Says spin around. So there's lots of ways to incorporate that one, but it is literally using their arms and legs to spin upright in the water. Next one is star floats on their front and star float on their back. So they can do both of these with their armbands. I would prefer it without a woggle, but obviously in the very early stages of stage 1, you might want to try them first with a woggle for safety, okay? At this point, it doesn't need to be with their face in the water. So what we're looking for is chin on the surface, arms out at the surface, legs out at the surface, okay? If the legs are falling at the back, tell them to pop the chin down lower and the legs will come up, okay? Just bear in mind they don't have their face in the water, so they might not be at the surface, depending on their individual buoyancy. 7 and 8, travel independently on front and on back, okay? So independently means without you holding or pulling or assisting in any way. So they still may have all 3 armbands on each arm, but they've got to be traveling by themselves, okay? So without any adult assistance. And what we're looking for, thinking back to that armband video, is scoops under the surface, nice long floppy legs at the surface, chin in the water, and a relaxed and comfortable streamline position. Don't want to see any of this down here, head up high, panicking. It's got to be relaxed, it's got to be horizontal at the surface, okay? On their back, again, they can have 3 armbands, up to 3 armbands on each arm if they're doing it with less, great. But it's without adult assistance. So we're not supporting the head, we're not holding the armbands anymore. They can comfortably and confidently set off at the wall. And just make sure when they're setting off on their back that their shoulders are at the surface and their head is starting to tilt back before they push backwards, okay? When children start here and go backwards, they've got a long way to go back. They tend to drop and they can go under the water, it can put them off. So I always say, before you set off on your back, shoulders under the water, head back, relax back gently, okay? It just avoids that drop under the water and them getting put off. We're looking for this, all the same things on the back as we are on the front. Horizontal, relaxed, long, straight, fast leg kick, small splash, and the back of their head and their ears are in the water looking at the ceiling, okay? So, next one, rotate from front to back vertically, rotate from front to back horizontally. So these are your rotations. So we're talking about front to back this way and front to back this way, okay? So roll in different ways. Front to back vertically, I like to do this with a toy, so I'll just grab something. So we got Batman here. So I would put each of them something in the pool. So for example, James, you're going for Batman, Lucy, you're going for Wonder Woman, and Tom, you're going for Superman. Forgot who he was then, Superman. Okay, so I would lay 3 out like this, 1, 2, 3. Set them all off together. So they're going to scoop and kick over to their toy. They're going to grab it, they're going to roll backwards, okay? So they put the toy on their tummy, they put their head back, and they splash their feet all the way back to the side. So you've got them coming forwards, travelling forwards on their front, grab the toy, they flip over, put their head in, and they travel back on their back with the toy on their stomach or on their chest, okay? Just remind them to hold the toy. Loads of them swim like this and expect it to stay there. I always say, hold on to him or he'll swim away, okay? So make sure they hold it and they rotate onto their back, okay? That's a good one for vertical. For the horizontal roll, you could do this with a ball, okay? That's quite a nice one. So they could have a small ball. So we're gonna say, swim with the ball on your chest, kick, kick, kick on your back, and then I want you to roll over and keep swimming on your tummy. You can do it with the animal floats, you can do it with the large balls. Just beware with the large balls, when they rotate into the water, sometimes it's a little bit difficult because it's big and we've got to get that ball under the water. Obviously it's very buoyant, okay? Can slip out of the hands as well. Obviously they're going to have plenty armbands on with the stage that they're at, so it's not too much of an issue, but just beware for that. So we've got the animal float and football. So the same thing, they can start on their front or they can start on their back, or you can switch it up, different lessons. So cuddle your animal, kicking on your front, roll over, kick the rest of the way on your back, okay? We're looking for those flat horizontal positions, head in the water, chin in the water. Same with the ball, hold it on your chest, kick on your back, roll over, kick the rest of the way on your front. Okay, so that's your rotations. Be at ease with water poured over your head. So the video just before this one was all sorts of things you can do with the watering can. So lots of games you can play, you can get them swimming under the waterfall. It just has to be briefly over their head and they're happy and confident with it. Exit the water safely, so we do that every lesson. That's either climbing out, elbows on the side, tummy on the side, and then knee on the side. It's the safest way to do it. Elbows, tummy, knee, and they're out. Or up the steps, okay? And then with this one, on our system, on the second drop-down area, you can see that there is a separate award that says, I can swim without a woggle. So when they get to that stage within your stage 1 class, where they're not reliant on the woggle and they can freely swim, doggy paddle on their front and kicking on their back with just their 3 armbands, we can award this one. Okay.